it's not amazing either. So that was one of the main letdown for me. Bonjour, Willy Mix. I'm going to talk about the SSL Fusion, and I'm going to say exactly what I like and what I dislike about it without any filters. I'm going to be fair and talk about what I think is cool about this unit. And first, that it's packed with features. You got a lot of stuff in one unit, so that's cool. You also have a mid-side matrix in the back with insert points. That's pretty amazing. Also, I do actually like the sound of the Violet EQ, especially the 20K boost. I also like the fact that there's input and output trim. That's super useful, and actually not a lot of outboard gears offer both at the same time. Then you have a few hidden features, like for example, if you press this one for 5 seconds, it's going to change it to another type of compressor, talkback SSL style of compression. And also, depending on how you switch it on, you have a game, like Simon says. I think it's unique and it's fun. And to me, at least, they had a very good customer service. Like I asked for a few replacement parts and they sent it to me right away. Now, let's jump into the door and explain what I dislike about it. So first, I'm going to talk about the vintage drive. It doesn't sound vintage to me, but at least it's useful. I'm using a gain match by Let It Mix to level match as close as I can. You're free to disagree with me if you don't want level match stuff. That's up to you. Let's see how it sounds, the vintage drive. So I don't think it sounds bad, but it doesn't sound vintage to me at all. I don't like what it does to the drums, for example, but I'm going to show you actually how it sounds on the vocal because I think that's where it works.
He said I can see two beams of light rising, and then we all saw two beams of light rising. Now he's a beam of light rising. We're all just old beams of light rising. Now he's a beam of light rising. We're all just old beams of light. He said I can see two beams of light rising, and then we all saw two beams of light rising.
Yeah, pretty good on the vocal, I think. Another thing I dislike is that the input trim, supposedly according to the manual, doesn't impact the transformer, and that to me is a big shame too. Why? Because the main thing about these transformers is to push some level into them so they clip just the right way. And the fact that you cannot do that with input knob is probably a design reason behind it. But in my opinion, it's a shame because that's the point of transformers, is to push them and saturate them as much as you could before it's too much and then blend it back a little bit. So that's one of the down points to me. Now let's talk about one of the main letdown of this unit. It's to me the talkback compressor. I had really high hopes about this compressor. It sounds very weird. So at the moment, I changed the HF compressor to the talkback LMC SSL type of compressor. This is basically the mix knob and this is basically the threshold. And I'm going to show you how it sounds and you will see that it doesn't sound that great. So you might think it's a bit extreme, but actually that kind of compressor is supposed to be used like that, and then you blend it in parallel. With that knob here, you can do that, or you can use some vintage drive with it and blend that in parallel. But it doesn't really work that way, whereas it should, because I have, for example, here in the studio an SSL 4000, and it has that thing there. And when you use it on drums, it's very fun. So I'm going to play with it a little bit again and show you when adding the vintage drive and trying to make it sound cool, even if I don't think it does. So as you could hear, it doesn't really bring any energy to the drums. I think it does make it sound sometimes a little bit louder, but it doesn't add the harmonic excitement that I would expect. That's why I was using the Vintage Drive at the same time to bring that in. But even with the Vintage Drive, when you blend that in, like it's a tiny bit better. But it's not amazing either. So that was one of the main letdown for me. Another down point that I found is that most of the analog gear that I have here, when you push it to the extreme, even to where it's not supposed to go, it still sounds interesting. Like in a way, it sounds over the top, but it sounds very harmonically excited. And that thing there, I don't think it does. And I'm going to show that to you actually by pushing it like crazy on the same drum loop. And you're going to hear that it doesn't sound crazy at all, which is a shame in my opinion. As you could hear, like it sounded okay, or definitely did something, and I will hopefully you're still paying a lot of money for that, so it definitely needs to bring something. But it wasn't bringing anything exciting in my opinion. Like, and even if I do that and I push the transformer in, you will hear that it doesn't do that much, unfortunately. Adding the transformer doesn't do that much. Like it adds a little bit of a low-end bump because it induces some kind of resonant low-frequency cut. So if your kick drum is around that area, it's actually boosted a little bit. And it also rotates the phase and make the high-end seem a little bit pushed on some elements. But doing this doesn't bring anything to the transformer, which is a big shame. So that's one of the down points for me. Another example I don't particularly like in this unit is the stereo image. So I'm going to show you how it sounds. I think it doesn't sound better than the plugins that I already have. This is with the plugin that I'm going to compare it to. It's called BasslanePro by Tone Project. This is with the plugin. This is the SSL. So in my opinion, the SSL doesn't sound bad, but it sounds almost filtered, like it's doing something to the mids, maybe the phase, make them cancel out a little bit each other, I don't know. But it's doing something to the mids that I don't really like, make it sound a bit more scooped. So if a plugin is just a tiny bit better, I can't justify this. So that's one of the points I dislike. I'm going to show you actually a feature that I really like, which is the violet EQ. I think this one kind of works well in combination with this one, but it's nothing like crazy. I'm going to play it again on the same song. And it's intentionally not well EQ'd, so I can play with that a little bit and push it a lot so you can hear how it sounds. the last thing I want to show you is having fun with the unit on mono sources, because I'm going to use it in a way that is not supposed to be used on the mono bass. And using the stereo image on the mono bass is actually pretty fun. So I'm going to show you how it sounds that way. And in my opinion, that's where the unit shines more for me, is doing weird stuff to mono sources. All right, let's listen to it. And in this last example, I'm going to show you a weird thing that if you push the saturation and you put the talkback compressor on and the transformers, it actually adds a weird synthetic attack. That can be super useful in parallel on bass. I'm going to show you that quick. And that's the last thing I'm going to show you today. All in all, that's all I have to say about the SSL Fusion. I don't think it's a bad unit, but I just can't justify keeping it because I have other tools that do the same thing in a similar way or better. The violet EQ is super cool, especially like the low end. I have other EQs that can boost the low end though, but I do really like that. I will probably gonna miss it. The high frequency compressor is kind of unique, but I don't think it's any better than what you could do in the box. The stereo image is also pretty nice, but again, in the box, I feel it could be a little bit better. The Vintage Drive is not amazing in my opinion. It's useful, but I could do it in a better way with 10,000 of other tools in the box and out of the box. And the hidden compressor is, in my opinion, a big letdown. It doesn't sound that amazing and that useful. If you combine it with the Vintage Drive, it's a good way to bring up the RMS, but it doesn't sound very good even that way, so it's good in parallel. But apart from that, it's not amazing. And the transformer, in my opinion, is doing something interesting, but it rarely works on a mix bus. It's cool on vocal, and that's about it, and nice on bass in parallel too. So all in all, I won't keep that unit. I don't think it's worth it for me. If I had to keep it, I would have to keep it only for vocal bus processing, stereo vocal bus processing or weird processing. Maybe on reverbs too, it can be cool. But it's an expensive unit to put on a reverb bus, so I don't think I'm going to do that. So will I recommend it as a first hardware purchase? Maybe if you find one for cheap, but it's never cheap anyway. But maybe in 4 or 5 years, they will reduce the price again. So maybe in 4 or 5 years, you can give it a try. But even though I wouldn't recommend it as a first outboard piece of gear if you want to use it only on the mix bus and you're working on music that needs to sound a bit vintage or a little bit old school in a way. It sounds very cool on like EDM, modern EDM or very modern metal stuff because it has that thing, but it doesn't really work for me. Alright, I hope you liked this video. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask, and in the meantime, au revoir.